This is Mr. Van Kaplan again. Today we're going to do a new piece in Autodesk Inventor. We're actually going to take a Lego piece that I have found in the classroom. It's a 4x8 Lego piece, and we're going to make that in Inventor. Here's a sample picture of what it's going to look like. And we're going to do, if you look at it, you can see we're going to do some extrusions, multiple extrusions here, but we're going to use a 3D pattern to do that. We are going to emboss Lego into it, and then on the bottom we're going to put another pattern on the bottom. So this is a pretty detailed piece, so I want you to follow along as we do this tutorial, and then at a later time you are going to find a Lego piece in the classroom and you're going to do the measurements and you're going to recreate it on Autodesk Inventor. So a future project you will find a Lego piece and make it as well. We've always done the standard measurement system, but for this it's a lot easier to measure using millimeters. So instead of English, I want you to choose metric, and you can see metric has 4 different types. English only has 2. For metric, I want you to choose the last one, standard mm.ipt. That means it's a part file, but your measurements will be in millimeters instead of inches. So click that, hit create. Okay, it's loading here, just be patient. Okay, now we're ready to sketch. And it's a millimeter file, it's no different than what you've been doing. Just instead of inches, everything's going to be in millimeters. So start a 2D sketch. Let's go with the XY plane, and we're going to make a rectangle. Okay, right click OK on there. So you've got your rectangle. We're going to add some dimensions. This dimension, I want you to make it 64 millimeters. Okay, when that happens, we know, go over there and hit front. Brings everything back for us. Let's dimension this side to 32 millimeters, and you can see instead of IN, I now have mm for millimeters. So 32. Check that, and we're okay. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do an extrusion. So right click, finish 2D sketch. Hit the home button so you can see that. We're going to extrude. Make sure you choose the object, and it's going to be 4 millimeters thick. Okay, so change that to 4, and we've got the basic shape of our Lego. Okay, so now we've got to make the circular pattern up here. So we're going to make a new sketch. Find this face. It should turn a different color for you. On mine, I highlights it in red. It may be a little bit different with you all, depending on your background color. Right click, new sketch. It flips it for us. I'm going to use the pan tool. This will be very handy in this tutorial. You're going to use it a lot. Okay. Right click, OK. So now I'm ready to sketch. This is my work plane, basically. I'm going to make a circle here. Okay, you can see that. And we're going to dimension this circle to 4 millimeters. Okay, and it moves it. I don't know why. Don't worry about that. You're okay. Right click OK. Now we're going to get this circle back where we want it. And we'll later look at making a pattern. Okay, I've measured off the edges of this. There's not a lot of room. We do have to change this a little bit to make it work. So we're going to go from the center of this circle to the top edge of this face. Let's put 2 millimeters and see what happens. See how it's touching it? I don't like that. Try 4. Okay, that's pretty good. A little bit far. Whoops. I don't want to do that. Okay. It's a good thing about adding dimensions. You can always double click and change them. 3 millimeters looks pretty good. And I'm going to do the same thing from the center to this edge now. 3 millimeters again. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've made one circle. We're making an 8x4 piece, so we're going to have 32 circles on the top eventually. But instead of doing 32 separate sketches, we're going to use the pattern tool. So right click, finish 2D sketch. Okay, we could do a 2D pattern and go and extrude them, but it's easier. We're going to go ahead and just extrude that one circle. Okay, make it pop up. We want it to be sticking up. Let's see that. 2 millimeters looks good. So hit OK. So now we've got one circle. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and change this, and my suggestion, make it a bright color while you're working. Then you can go back and change it later. I'm going to go with a smooth yellow for now. Okay. A lot easier to see. So we have one circle. We need 31 more of them. You've done a 2D pattern before, so now we're going to do a 3D pattern. Okay, we're still in our 3D model you can see here. So I'm going to do a rectangular pattern. Okay, my shape is this circle. So I want to hit OK there. Direction 1 would be this line, and if you notice it's going to the left. Flip it. Direction 2 is going to be this line. Okay, and that's correct. We want 8 this long way, and some of them are probably going to pop off. We want 4 this way. And what you can notice, it's too big. So what we've got to do is change the spacing. Okay, 5 millimeters is too close. 8 looks pretty good. 8 looks good there. Let's go with 8 millimeters for this project. Then you hit OK. Now it's starting to look like something. Okay. We have a Lego piece. Okay, the top side of it. The bottom also has an intricate pattern as well, and we're going to put that on it. So we're going to flip it over. And how I'm doing that, I'm just grabbing my cube, flipping it over. We don't want to see the flat surface because that makes it pretty tough. The next thing we're going to do a shell to this bottom part. Okay. And we don't want to remove any faces or anything like that. Okay. The thickness, let's change it to 2 millimeters. I'm showing you all these circles. You're not going to see those once you shell it. Hit OK. And now you can see, if you look closely, it's like we've recessed this into it. Okay, and that's good. That's what we want. Okay, so now we've got the top. Starting to get something on the bottom here. Okay, this is going to be our new sketch area. So we're done for right now. We've done a shell and multiple extrusions. Okay, so we're done on the top. We are going to go on and emboss the logo later. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to put a pattern down here as well. So this is going to be our new sketch. Right click, make sure you're inside here. New sketch. Flips that for you where you can't really see well. That's when our pan tool is useful again. Okay. Right click OK. I'm going to hit this corner so I can see the side a little. I don't like that. That's okay. We can go back and dimension it. Nothing to worry about. Choose a circle tool. Get in the middle here. Okay, let's make this 5 millimeters. And I just typed that in there instead of adding a dimension. You can do that as well. Go to this origin and make it 4 millimeters. Hit enter. Right click OK. Okay, now you can see I've got this circle, and we're going to kind of extrude this thin part. So let's add a dimension from this line to the center of my circle. Make that 8 millimeters. Okay, moves it up. Same thing here. From this side, and on this one let's go all the way out to here. 8 millimeters. Let me edit this one. That 8's too much. Let's try 6. Nah. Okay, that looks a lot better. And that's what we want. Okay. Right click, finish 2D sketch. Okay, here's where you want to use your trackball. Zoom in. You're going to do an extrusion just on this surface. And let's make it 1 millimeter. Hit OK. Okay, so now we're in our 3D mode. We're going to make another rectangular pattern. This one's going to be 3 left to right and 7 going up and down. So again, a rectangular pattern. This shape. Direction 1 is going to be to the left, so I need to flip that. Let me move this out of the way so you can see the green things going here. Go ahead and change that to 3. Direction 2 is going to be down. And it did that automatically for us. We want 7 of those. Let's bring that spacing in. These are actually pretty tight on the back of the Lego piece, and we'll compare it later so you can see it. Hit OK, and now you can see you've got that pattern on the top. Hit the home button there, and also on the bottom. Okay, so that looks pretty good. One thing, spacing is a little bit off here. So let's make that move over a little bit more. I don't like that. Double click your rectangular pattern there. And the 3 is the one that looks off. Let's change that. 8 millimeters. And let's try 8 here as well. And that looks better. Okay, so change it. We've done 7 millimeters. Go back and change it to 8. Okay. And this concludes it for part 1. I'm going to stop there because it's a pretty long video. We're going to do a couple more extrusions on the back in the next video, and then we're going to emboss some text. So save this to your Inventor file, save as. Make sure you choose your Inventor file, save it as Mr. V Lego Part 1. We'll do part 2 later, and then you're going to make your own. You're going to find a Lego piece. So Mr. V Lego Part 1. And that'll be a good stopping point for this video.